Okay, he's got it. Why? You can have mine in a second. I'm just gonna circle some names. I always get Mency mixed up. Mency and...
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are bringing up your St. John NBL's next team to the court.
Carlos Knox. Okay, so the head coach of London. He's also with WNBA.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our conversation for tonight's matchup between your St. John and the visiting London Lightning. And now, please welcome the opposing team to the court, the London Lightning, and here is their starting five. At point guard, number 6, Al Stewart. At shooting guard, number 13, Brent Jennings. At small forward, number 23, Emmanuel Little. At power forward, number 4, Alvin Mendes. And at center this evening, it will be number 45, Marvin Phillips. The head coach will be Carlos Knox. significantly faster on our comes stage on the basketball this month. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please turn your attention to the east end of our station as we introduce your 2014-2015 St. John Millrats. First up, wearing number 22, he is a 6'5" guard from Hamden, Connecticut. Give it up for Keith Hoffman. From Montreal, he stands at 6'8", playing the center. Number 32, Ricky Volsi. From Toronto, Ontario, wearing number 11, he is a 5'10" point guard of Canadian Alex Superman Johnson. From Belleville, Ontario, 6' center, a long, cool glass of water, wearing hello, it is J.B. Vanderbeeken. Hailing from St. John, New Brunswick, wearing number 33, he stands 6'8", a lefty long distance threat, Peter West. From Oakland, California, he is an author, he is a showman, we are Canada, wearing number 20, Eric Rorschach. Ladies and gentlemen, we also want to give number 10, Derek Messi. And ladies and gentlemen, on injury reserve, we want to give a shout out to number 34, Ty Gorlett. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to introduce your starting five for tonight's game. At point guard, give it up for number 3, we call him Radio, he goes by Raheem Singleton. Up next is 6'5" guard from Wolverine, Alabama, 23, Johnny Day. This 6'7" forward hails from Memphis, Tennessee. He wears number 24, Jeremy Williams. and gentlemen, at this time, we are going to ask for Tyrone Levin, as well Kenny Jones, if you can come up here to center court as well. Kenny and Tyrone have a special presentation. I'm going to turn the microphone over to Tyrone. Go ahead, sir.
On behalf of the team, management, and fans, we would like to give warm thanks for the best trainer in the NBL. Ms. Kathy is so dedicated to us. If it wasn't for us, it's not possible for us to have the season that we're having. Thank you, Ms. Kathy, for all the hard work that you do for us. We know it's greatly appreciated, and we all love you.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we ask that you please rise, remove your hats, and join Andre Borgna for the singing of our national anthem.
All right, St. John, it's that time of the game. Are you ready for some back? Let's stand in. Basket.
That one's wide open and sub in. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to St. John, New Brunswick, Canada. We got a huge matchup tonight between the London Lightning and St. John Millrats. Welcome back to Stacey Atkinson, back to the broadcast from St. Stephen High School.
Thanks, Ben. Happy to be here. Couple Thursdays in a row, storming really bad. Couldn't make the hour drive, but I wanted to. I wanted to put the snowshoes on to get here if I had to, but a little far away.
Especially these Millrats on a winning streak.
Yes.
Which I believe is at 9 games at the moment. Incredible. And alongside us, actually, are two former basketball players from Lower Middle School, Matt and Gordon Brown, now graduated from St. John High School, both phenomenal basketball players and football stars as well. And Bob Fife from Hampton High School also here as part of the broadcast, along with Brian McPherson. We got a packed table here tonight, Stacey. Wow. That didn't take long for the big ticket. Big ticket, Kenny Jones lighting up long range.
You know, the only reason he shot that.
Give him the rock.
Shot clock was coming down, you know, a broken play, ball bounced off his foot, he saved it from going out of bounds.
Give the big ticket the rock.
Wow. What a good start. What a start.
Millrats off to a great start. Speaking of starters, the Millrats have Raheem Singleton, Anthony Anderson, Kenny Jones, Mayan, and Jeremy Williams in the starting lineup. For the London Lightning, we've got Al Stewart, Brent Jennings, Emmanuel Little, Marvin Phillips, and Elvin Mims. Both very solid starting lineups, Stacey. This is going to be an incredible basketball game.
Oh, yeah, you know what? Teams come in here, Ben, we look at, because we don't have that 7-foot rim protector. Most teams have that, 6'10", 7-footer, and this London Lightning team doesn't possess that. So height-wise, size-wise, looks like a good matchup here on the floor.
Emmanuel Little able to pull up for that little jump shot, getting his own rebound. Again, that's going to be key here in the game is really boxing out, and you always stress that, Stacey.
Yeah, it's been, at the start of the year, when they had a losing record, it was a glaring weakness of the Millrats. And they've been on this 9-game winning streak, or 10 for their last 11, I guess we could say. They've been finishing their defense with rebounding the basketball, with good box outs, good solid box outs. Of course, the other team's going to get offensive rebounds. You don't want to give up any more than 10. That maybe your goal is 8 to 10 offensive rebounds.
Well, we talk a lot. Wow, there's a nice tip. I believe that's going to be good to Marvin Phillips. I believe got a hand on that.
And we just right on cue, I guess.
But again, Stacey, we talked joking the other night about us being rookies as broadcasters for the Millrats. Way back in November 9th, I believe, 2014. Seems like a long time ago now. I won't dare to go as far as saying we're veterans, but
no.
we managed to get through the season.
Yeah,
but the point being is the shift, the 180 turn we saw from November 2014 to now is just a completely different squad.
We're witnessing it firsthand here, courtside.
Marvin Phillips able to hit.
For all their home games, we're witnessing, like you said, it's like that butterfly coming out of that cocoon. They've developed. They're comfortable talking to some players before the game started. Very comfortable, very good atmosphere and practices. Team chemistry is really good. And like I said, we've added some players that have helped the Millrats clean up on those defensive rebounding and turnovers.
Yeah, and that's huge, and that's that sense of community. I mean, the whole city's behind this team. There's a quick steal there by the London Lightning, a huge throwdown. Brent Jennings off. Reminds me of Matt Brown sitting to the right of me. He throws down massive dunks like that for St. John High School.
I spoke about the turnovers too soon, I guess. Three in a row for the Millrats.
The point being is we talk all season about pieces of a puzzle being put together. Wow. You talk about the Lightning. Those are two Lightning-style dunks. Brent Jennings just taking flight.
11 11 points, 8 of those points then off of Millrat's turnovers. We talked about the team that with the induction of these new players really cleaning up on these turnovers. But in my count, I have an official count here, but in my head, I'm looking at 4 turnovers, 2 passing turnovers, 2 dribbling turnovers that have led to 8 points.
Well, they're facing a different squad than they see East, whether it be the PEI Storm, Halifax. It's a very strong basketball team, and it's a good kind of a good time of the year, and maybe a good test for the Millrats because they're a good measuring tool to what they're going to see in playoffs.
Oh, a great measuring tool, and you don't want to play somebody that you're 30 points better, especially your last game of the season going into playoffs. Millrats couldn't have scheduled a better team to play to prepare them for their first round of playoffs. Tonight we'll know, hopefully by the end of this game, we'll know who they're playing first round. It's a matchup tonight between Halifax and PEI. The loser of that matchup, of course, will play the Millrats at the 2-3 game, and the winner of the Halifax PEI game will end up 1 and play Moncton in the first round.
Correct, and we'll get Briar here to tune in a moment just to touch on that very subject. Briar McPherson is I call him the king of social media. Briar, what's the situation looking like for playoffs for the Millrats at the moment?
Well, right now it's only a couple minutes into the game between the Storm and the Rainmen. And the Rainmen, low scoring so far, obviously. It's only 2-0 for the Rainmen. But I think this is going to be a big battle with the Storm. On a losing streak, obviously they had multiple chances to clinch the division and just couldn't do it. So they're looking to break that streak and obviously get first in division. But so is Halifax. They're hungry as well. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes down.
Yeah, I think. Thanks, Briar. I think. Big 3 by Mahan.
Johnny, the 3-point specialist, Mahan, lighting up long range.
Just like that 11-8 game,
It doesn't take long. I mean, Stacey, we talked about that game where it seemed like every shot on the court was going in for the Millrats.
Oh, wow.
The pure shooting ability of this squad is just phenomenal, and we're going to see more and more of that as the season goes on.
Yeah, the last game I got to broadcast with you, Ben, was 3 games ago because of the Storms. And they set a team record with, I'm going to say, 23 3-pointers.
Pretty close to that.
Go back to the record book here, by 23, 25. It was just every 3 they threw up was going in.
Well, not only that, but it was a widespread 3-point shooting clinic they were putting on. Every player on the squad was hitting threes.
Yeah.
It was caught on like wildfire.
And how it's changed the game. The induction of the 3-point line in the 80s. It didn't change the game. It did. It changed the game immediately. But even today, it's changing the game with the induction of that 3-point. It's changing how you defend and what you put on the floor for offense. And it's just looking last night's Houston game, Houston and the Clippers, I believe it was. With 9 minutes to go in the game, Houston already got up 43 3-pointers.
Incredible. I mean, the 3-point shooting has changed the game, absolutely. Got to give a shout out here to Kenny Jones, not only getting a bucket earlier, just as Briar was analyzing the stats.
He did what he does best.
He does what he does best. He's doing everything he needs to do. Again, Coach Paul Vaughn tonight. Wow. That's 45 again. His vertical leap is incredible. Marvin Phillips.
It's the vertical and the strength in the upper body of he's got to have a body put on him for sure.
And just to touch on the coaching staff of the London Lightning, Carlos Knox. This guy's got a strong background in the game of basketball. We'll touch on that later, probably at halftime. And another huge shout out to Paul Vaughn, KB High School's basketball coach and assistant coach turned head coach the last several games for the Millrats, as Coach King's been out with an illness, I believe the flu. But who better than Paul Vaughn to lead this squad on a winning streak? Kenny Jones again going to work.
Attaboy. Now we talk about Paul. Paul's been under you know, the tutorship of Coach King all season for the Mill Rats. I'm sure he's not going to do anything different. He's going to just continue to do what Coach King has been doing. That has been working. What? You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Why change it? There's Kenny with a chance to go to work. He's back to the basket again. He is top. He draws so much attention, Ben. It's
you know, it's a combination of his footwork and that pump fake. You talk a lot, Stacey, about how people, you know, maybe it's underrated or people don't talk about the pump fake and the value in a pump fake enough, and we definitely love it. And he's the prime example of someone who uses that as part of his arsenal to really attack these teams coming into Harbor Station.
Yeah, his footwork is incredible. All the fundamentals of the game are what Kenny Jones is all about. You know, with the pump fakes, the jab steps, reverse spins, and you know, if he draws so many games, he draws that double and triple team, and he's such a good passer. You know, like we just saw, you know, he dished down to Williams for the foul and free throws. As the game goes on, they have to stop double teaming, and you'll see to start the game. Usually see Kenny go to work. You just kind of see him peter off because they throw double and triple teams at him. But then he makes them pay, and he kills them towards the end of the game, usually in the fourth quarter.
And Jeremy Williams we've got to touch on. We did a pregame show with Jeremy Williams. And Breyer, just to triple check, he did go to University of Texas, is that correct? I think we got that out of him in the pre.
Yeah, it was Texas El Paso, yeah.
Right.
Texas El Paso.
And he talked about his journey to pro basketball is incredible, from the prep schools, Stacey, to playing D1 ball. He's had quite the journey, as a lot of these players have. Another effective piece, addition to this kind of a puzzle piece, which is the St. John Mill Rats.
That is Emmanuel Little.
Emmanuel Little able to get to the hoop, just slashing and driving. Stacey, we got to quickly touch upon the fact that these guys are highly athletic. I mean, it only looks like they've got 9 guys on the roster right now playing.
You know, I think our guards, the Mill Rats guards, have quickly found out that they're not going to blow by these guys and get to the basket. We've already seen 3 dribble turnovers and big 3 by Double A.
Double A, the veteran, all-time leading scorer last season, NBL Canada, Anthony Anderson. Disgusting 3-point long-range bombshell.
Yeah, you know, sometimes, Ben, that's how you open up driving lanes. You know, the shooting by the Mill Rats has been great.
Move the Mill Rats made this season by far. It sounds crazy, but from a coaching standpoint, Stacey, you might agree. Sitting Anthony Anderson with a somewhat of a minor injury for the length of time that they did was a brilliant move. Because look at him now; he is 100%. He's shooting very well.
His body's back, you know, where he
100% health for playoffs.
And you know, and it gave some other players a chance to develop and get a ton of playing time. And
but again, Anthony Anderson being that guy, he doesn't need the ball. He's not Michael Jordan. He doesn't like all the pressure to have to be on him all game. So now he's got a well-balanced team he can go to. You know, he doesn't have to score 40 points a game. He's got Kenny Jones, and he's got a bunch of other specialists to go to work.
Foul early. Oh, after, I guess.
You notice Bolche's actually come into the game for the Mill Rats. And Mancy as well. And both of these guys playing really great defense as of late. So Stacey, you're kind of looking here, other than Anthony Anderson, as, you know, your second lineup out there on the floor for the Mill Rats, but also a very strong one.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, like you said, with Anthony Anderson out, you know, two or three players. It wasn't one player that stepped up. It was two or three players that got a considerable amount of minutes and valuable playing time, which is helping them. You see now, we got almost, with the exception of Anderson, 4 bench players on the floor, holding pace at 17 all there.
So that personal foul has been called against Mency. Anthony Anderson getting a well-deserved break after that long-range 3. And Keith Cawthorn, Mr. Connecticut, he has been just on fire, Stacy. I know games, but he has just been incredible at New Haven, Connecticut. His shooting performances, his dunks,
big
and
rebound.
his defense. Stacy, he had a moment in the game. His defense is so perfect. I called it textbook. Put it in the basketball dictionary. He is so good defensively. And there you go. There's your all-around player. We talked about the Millrats, all 10, 12 players on the team being able to shoot threes.
Yeah. And we're without. We forgot to mention we're without Tyrone Lemon tonight. He's telling me he's 100% healthy. He's ready for the playoffs because he sat out last game. Injured reserve. It's a rule in the NBL where you got to sit out too. So it's all right, he said. Give some guys a chance to get some extra minutes, and he's ready for playoffs.
There's a nice pull-up jumper there for Kurt Alexander, the London Lightning. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you're St. John Millrats fans, and there he's going to work early, Keith Cawthorn, the product of New Haven, Connecticut. Coast to coast is number 20 of the London Lightning. That was beautiful. Ed Horton going to work. Again, the athleticism we talked about this league, Stacey, is superior to what we saw in this league 3 years ago. We've seen this all season.
We watched the last basket by London, and you watch Cawthorn, and not to pick him apart, but just to pick the defense apart. You watch him line his body up with a weak hand from inside the three-point line to the basket. It's so important for young people out there listening that you don't have to be super athletic. You don't have to be quicker than Lightning. You just have to get your body in front of the basketball. So especially on with the ball here, with the ball coming down on a break, get your body in front of the basketball and make him change direction.
And you nailed it, and especially the veteran players. Look at Anthony Anderson. The way he positions his body.
We just looked.
That's an easy foul call there against Mency.
Another perfect example. I hope to show the replay. Alex just didn't line his body up with the basketball. The basketball has to go by you.
And you can see the confusion. They're talking about it out there in the court right now. Where you're supposed to be. Where's the help?
There's no 7-footer. There's no rim protector in there. We need to stop the basketball. Period. So get your body in front of the ball and keep the basketball out of the key. Turn the ball handler once or twice. I'll give you an example. You take your quickest, not even your quickest, middle of the pack player on your team. Put him at the three-point line facing the basket. He's going to jab left, go right, take 2 steps, lay it in. So you touch when he jab steps, and you stop it when the ball's out of his hand to lay it in. I guarantee you, it's no more than 1.4 seconds. And so you take this level at 1 second. So you need to get players to change direction.
Ladies and gentlemen, 9 seconds left, 22-22, first quarter. Ball stripped by London.
Nice finish.
And Cawthorn coming up with a nice defensive play there to end the quarter. Apologize for interrupting. We just realized we're running out of time in the quarter.
8 seconds left in the quarter. Yeah, so just to touch on that, it was I've timed players at the high school level. Started with the jab step and stop the stopwatch when the ball's laying out of his hand to lay it in. It's usually right around 1.4 seconds. So point being, at this level, it's probably 1.1 second on 1 second. And you need to give your players the help defense time to react. If he's getting to the 3-point line and laying it in in 1 second, then the help defense already has to be there. If it's not there, so the offensive player looks up, the hole, that goes to the rim, and it's too late. Your last resort defense is trying to block. So important to keep your body in front of the ball, make him change direction, make him take 2 seconds, 3 seconds to get to the rim, and help defensive hands to react if they need help.
Yep. And you nailed it. And whether it's Anthony, we'll take Anthony Anderson for an example on the offensive end, but it's no different defensively. The way it's set on offense is very similar to defense. Anthony Anderson is able to preserve his body and play for as long as he has because of the way he positions his body and the way his is set up. Same thing on the defensive end. If your feet are set properly, you're going to be effective on defense. And I think it's just the Millrats, the 5 guys out on the court right now, the communication I don't think was there. And Coach Vaughn had a really good moment there to talk to the guys about getting kind of mentally reset on D because they need to. This London Lightning team is way too highly offensive to not shut them down. You've got to really shut them down on defense. At the very least, contest the shot. London Lightning are getting a couple easy personal foul calls against Mency and Bolsey, it looked like, under the basket. But again, it came down to the footwork of the NORADs. And someone like Keith Cothran, who's a specialist on defense, he can't do it alone, right, Stacey? I mean, it's got to be all 5 players out there, 100%.
And we talked about Tyrone not playing tonight. Tyrone is their best defender. He is their best on-the-ball defender. He can guard a center. He can switch out on a point guard point guard. When you lose anybody out of your rotation, it hurts your team, especially Tyrone. Where he is your best defender, and not only best defender, Ben, but how many threes have we seen him knock down all year?
If you ask me for an MVP of the St. John Millrats, Tyrone Levitt's got it hands down. I don't care who you are and what argument you have for it.
In most games, not even starting. He comes off the bench. He plays considerable minutes. But the home games that we've seen, that we've witnessed, definitely, I agree. He's been their MVP.
Alex Superman Johnson took flight there, got hit, got the harm, and we talked about this style of game that the Millrats have to play. We talked early in the season. Now we're able to really sum it up at this point in the season. Ian McCarthy deciding to go with a couple of big 7-footers, or to have a team filled with Kenny Jones and your Tyrone Levitts, and really attacking the hoop whenever possible. And if they're getting caught under the basket, distributing the ball back out to the perimeter for an open 3, and that's been so effective with their style of play. And I think what the Millrats are really looking for right now is a moment. They want a momentum shift.
Something to get this crowd going.
Something to get the crowd going. Lightning already had 2 massive dunks.
We got a little
There's Keith Cothran.
Little full court ball pressure here.
Briar, are you able to give us an update on the Halifax Raymen game?
Yep, I believe it's in just towards the end of the first quarter right now. The Raymen are leading 30-20, and right now.
And that's in PEI, isn't it, Briar?
Yes, that's at the Eastlink Center in PEI.
Oh! Air Canada, Cruikshank taking flight.
We were just talking about that.
They just needed an Air Canada massive dunk and just threw it down. It's been an instant prediction with Aaron Cruikshank. You put him on the floor.
He's been on cue all season.
They are running a play for a massive Air Cruikshank Air Canada dunk. Give the kid the ball. Inbound play and just a disgusting dunk. How can you not love Cruikshank? So again,
Johnny, sorry Ben, cut you off.
I was just going to say, just we talk about Eric Cruikshank playing that key role of morale booster for this team. It's huge. And we joke with the little things sometimes. There's a turnover. Eric. Oh! Cruikshank tried to throw another one down. He said, all right. He said, don't worry about it. I'll take the harm. You know why? I'm having my best free throw shooting percentage of my career. 10 years in the league, and I'm shooting better than ever at probably 35, 36 years of age. Shooting well.
Shooting is a confidence thing. And I don't think Cruikshank lacks any confidence at all. It surprises me he hasn't been a 98% free throw shooter.
He really, in all honesty, ladies and gentlemen, Eric Cruikshank's free throw shooting percentage has really skyrocketed. He missed those two, but over the season, and there's Volchi there, a great box out.
You know, again with an offensive rebound from Volchi and.
Great patience by the Millrats. See if Cawthron wants to do with it. He's got a bunch of tools.
He has a nice handle on that ball.
Keith Cawthron shooting that from New Haven, Connecticut. Just dropped into Harbor Station. We just talked about earlier this game. He can do it all, Stacy. Coaches back, his high school coaches, college coaches back in New Haven, Connecticut. I've spoken with them. They just love this guy.
Oh, yeah.
One of those guys you question sometimes, like, why is this kid not in the NBA? Like some of those pro players, young pro players, you say, you know what? They might have a shot someday. They might play D-League. They might play overseas, and maybe the NBA. That's what's so exciting, Stacey, is that now we're getting more and more young athletes in the NBL. They've got legitimate shots at going further.
Well, you know, we're getting these, like we talked about earlier in the season, we're getting these players that have to, you know, go 5,000 to 6,000 miles from home to play in a pro league and to get recognition from the NBA, from the WNBA, or the NBL, and you know, you get players from all over the states on the floor. You know, the short flight to Canada to play in a professional basketball league.
And Volchi in for the two pass and the assist coming from Superman Johnson.
Volchi's a big guy. You know,
he is. You know what? He reminds me a lot of Tyrone Levin as far as that physical presence. Yeah. Another freight train of a player. You don't want to have to bump into him under the basket. You're going to risk injury.
You know, he's
very tough.
I got him listed weight-wise. I got him at 235. I think he's about 250, to be honest with you. He's a big guy.
Just while I got a moment here, Coach Bob Fife is at the media table with us from Hampton. Really making a strong effort out in Hampton, New Brunswick, trying to relaunch the basketball program. A long history of basketball in Hampton, New Brunswick, and it's now on the. So don't be shocked if you see some really phenomenal players starting to come and develop out of Hampton. Keith Cawthron. You know, you can't say enough about him either, Stacey. Eric Cruikshank's presence on defense.
Yeah, again.
Block shots, tip balls.
You know, Millrats very active tonight, Ben, with tips and deflections and just getting that hand on a loose ball, or even if they have to slap a rebound from behind if you can't grab it. They've been pretty active here. And so is the likely.
So Brent Jennings able to tip that one in. Let's give some credit here as well to Superman Alex Johnson. He runs the floor so well. A very good quarterback for this team. Again, another guy that could be starting, Stacey, on this team. But coming off the a rough start to shooting, but we know he can shoot that long-range three. Scores 33-25 for the Millrats with 7:44 left in the second quarter. There's a massive dunk there by 23. Emmanuel Little. These guys have got hops. coming back to Bob Fife from Hampton. So I got an opportunity here. You had a few comments about the first quarter. I was talking about the ball security continuing to be an issue that largely really touching upon the ball security of for the Millrats. You know, taking care of the basketball.
Yeah, too many turnovers to start that first quarter, obviously, and found themselves in a little bit of a hole, down 11-2, but have battled back nicely here to 33-27, a 6-point lead.
There's a wide open three.
He's not going to miss many of those, I'll tell you.
Cawthorn is not going to miss many of those.
He's going to make more than he misses. You know, a 3-point percentage, that's pretty good. We talked about the 3-point line, changing the game of basketball. Of course, you can shoot 33% from the 3-point line, and that equals to 50% from 2, which is a phenomenal percentage if you want your team shooting.
That was number 20, Ed Horton, back to the other end for the London Lightning. Superman Johnson's got the ball, still got a hold of it. Nice pass inside.
Williams, top.
Jeremy Williams, beautiful basket.
He haunts that baseline, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He haunts that baseline and is the recipient of, a recipient of that help defense trying to stop the basketball.
Clinton Springer Williams able to get the hoop under the basket, wide open for that too. A little breakdown on defense there. Again, credit to Superman Johnson. He is finding ways to get his bigs involved. Bob Fife also touching on the fact that the defensive rebounding improving for the Millrats, and that, he makes a great point. We've been talking about it all season, how crucial it's going to be pulling down rebounds come playoff time. We talked about this game 1 in November. The Millrats are a much better rebounding team than we saw in 2014.
Oh, definitely. Every play, every rebound, every turnover you create is so crucial when, for every game. But when you get into the playoffs, you'll see the crowd react to every single play on the floor. You'll see them react to every rebound the Millrats get, every turnover they cause, every three they get. And when it comes out of the playoffs, every little play, every part of the game is so.
We got a jam-packed media table here. We got the social media genius and Briar McPherson. We've got Bob Fife down the end of the table from Hampton High School coaching. And we also got Matt and Gordon Brown. I'm just going to pass the mic over to Matt Brown quickly. Matt, what are your thoughts on the game so far?
This is a great game, honestly. Defense is good. Offense is really good for both teams.
Great points. And Gordon, I know you're going to have an opinion on this. What do you think of Eric Crookshank's dunk?
I think it was pretty insane, actually. The hops were really nice. I think you can do it a couple more times during the game.
Absolutely, and it's a game changer. You guys know when a massive dunk gets thrown down in high school, it's a game changer for a morale booster, right? So again, we got an amazing media table here tonight on the broadcast, Stacey. Everywhere from coaches trying to reinvigorate a program in Hampton, New Brunswick, to two of my former students and middle school champions from Lauren Middle School. Now seniors in high school, and it's amazing how fast time flies. You got kids in middle school, you win a championship, next you blink, and they're in grade 12 and they're graduating, going on to play college basketball.
We have these kids in the minor programs at the middle school, and you see them go through high school, and you're right. They're graduating high school, turning into young men, going off to university, hopefully playing some more basketball, and we're just getting older. Then we see it again. We see the next generation come through, and you're right, we blink.
It's all good. I mean, But Stacy, the point being is this. That's a strong move to the basket. 23, Emmanuel Little, he is doing a very good job at slashing and driving. But Stacy, the great thing about Matt and Gordon Brown, these kids from the North End, went to Lower Middle School, the old North End of St. John. I remember meeting them for the first time and this being the most kind and genuine kids I've ever met in my life. And as you can see, they still are. Most coachable kids you'll ever meet. And
the most important thing.
Most important thing, right? So whoever gets a hold of them next year is going to be happy to have them. But more importantly, as the coach, no matter if you have them at the elementary school level, we laugh, Stacy, because there's little kids running by here all the time, stopping in on the broadcast because they just love the game. But these are 2 success stories out of the old North End that are going to go on. I think Matt was talking about. The program he's going into next year in computer science, that's a very difficult program. Guess what? He's a very intelligent kid. Athletes, but also great kids. And so as a coach, no matter what they do after high school, if you know you've reached out to 1 or 2 kids and they've become successful, I don't care if I'm 50 or 60, I'll be proud of that going down the road. So that's why I'm so glad to see them here.
Great by Singleton. I tell my kids every year that yes, you got to play the game of basketball. You coach you all season to be a better player, importantly, a better person, and how to succeed in not only basketball, but how to succeed in life and in general, how you act. I have great talks in playing about how they talk to their parents, and I want reports from their parents. Are they mouthing off? Are they respectful to you? Are they respectful to other teachers at school and other students?
That's huge. Marvin Phillips at the line, shooting 2, missed the first, made a second. And at the other end, Radio Singleton tuning in and hitting the long range. But I remember that year when Matt and Gordon Brown were playing basketball and I had academic tracking sheets, and it became a privilege to actually go to practice. That's a life skill. So you nailed it. Kenny Jones, a big ticket.
A big ticket going to. He sold a couple tickets there, I think. Little subtle fakes, little subtle uptakes, and you can't help but buy it. Millrat's just, causing some tough shots by the London Lightning. We talked about Millrat's not having that 7-footer and that shot blocker in there, but we have some guys now that can get their body in front of the ball and really make you change your shot.
And all 5 players scrambling for loose balls.
And one.
Beautiful, Jeremy Williams.
And this guy right here is the most underrated shot blocker in the NBL.
This is why we took him onto the program, did a pregame with him last game at Harbor Station, Briar and I, because we were very clear to point out that he doesn't get the coverage he deserves. We don't have enough time in the game.
Yeah, not even close. He does so many little things with the rebounding, shot blocking, and defending, and the scoring. He doesn't have that 40-point game, but he has that 28-point game with 4 block shots and 12 rebounds. That double basketball is crucial.
Jeremy Williams, he had another great game after the pregame interview we had with him. But again, a full squad of players now that big ticket trying to get to the bucket there. There's that defense we talked about in the frustration foul, Stacy. Yeah. All 5 Millrats players battling for the ball. We didn't see this early. You've got a full squad of guys willing to battle tooth and nail for the basketball. They want it. They want it.
Definitely. Johnny Hart giving up the foul in the backcourt there. He knew the Millrats had numbers. It was a smart foul. I was telling you before the game that I remember John Hart playing at Purdue. I can't exactly remember how good he was, how many, if he was a scorer or a defender, but I remember him playing at Purdue, and I'm horrible with names. So.
Both are.
Of course, if he I remember seeing him play, he's getting minutes at that D1 level at a great school.
Big ticket, Kenny Jones trash talking on his way back up the court. He's like, don't even try to defend this. Don't even bother. I'm the big ticket. People paying money to come watch me play ball. I'm gonna get buckets.
Yeah.
Might add a couple other words that we don't want to discuss.
Right, you got the mic. You got something? You have something to add? Absolutely.
Yeah, big change in the game between Halifax and the Storm. Halifax is up by over 20 points now, 45 to 24. It's about 6 minutes left in the second quarter, so let's see if the Storm can pull it together for the second half.
Great call, Briar, to jump in there. That's huge. You know, Ian McCarthy and the executive staff here are keeping an eye on that game.
Well, I think if they had a choice, who they wanted to play first round, it would probably be the struggling PEI Storm. Haven't been winning as many games as they've been losing as of late, and maybe you can tell by the score tonight, it's 46-24 now for Halifax. So don't underestimate anybody. PEI Storm would be a great first round matchup for the NORACs.
And it's funny you mention Ian McCarthy keeping an eye on this game. I was on the road with the team on Monday in Moncton, and coming down to the fourth quarter and obviously in overtime, Ian had his laptop out. We were sitting there courtside, and he was watching the Storm game against London, actually, keeping an eye on that. So obviously he's not always just looking at his team. He's keeping an eye on the other team and see what good to start to look like.
Ian McCarthy watches 4-7. He's up to date on exactly what's happening. Emmanuel Little actually at the free throw line back there, making a couple open free throws.
Look at Kenny. Great pass.
Beautiful interior pass by Kenny Jones.
You want to double team him, he's going to find the open guy, whether it's a three or a guy cutting to the rim for a layup. We talked about Jeremy Williams earlier. He is the recipient of so many guys playing help defense, and he just haunts that baseline. He's got that great power step to the rim, and gets himself to the free throw line tons.
I asked kind of a key question to him about his success and how he's made it through, from college into the pro leagues, and talking about Coach King and his philosophy on the game, and always really in the past he's been lucky to play for coaches who have that kind of coaching style that Coach King has, kind of a community family type of atmosphere and relationship building. You talk about that, Stacey, a lot.
Oh, definitely, Coach King, of course, played for the legendary and the Hall of Famer John Chaney, and kind of models his style of coaching more with Chaney than any coach that he's played for. But like we talked earlier, it's a combination of a few coaches that he's played for, some great coaches, and but more John Chaney, more mirrors his coaching towards the legendary John Chaney. Great success at Cal.
Then the foul there being charged against, at first I thought it was Anderson. So earlier on, Anthony Anderson was charged with the foul. I believe Singleton got charged with that last one. Again, you really have to keep an eye on foul trouble for these 2 point guards. They are crucial, Stacey, as you know, in the fourth quarter. These guys make or break a game with the last 4 or 5 minutes in the fourth.
Well, if you're not in foul, is the way you can play defense. Can you be aggressive, or you have to back off and really show your hands and not bump the ball handler, things you can get away with.
Marvin Phillips has been actually an impressive player this game for London.
Wow.
That's tough, Stacey. You have a great on offense for the Millrats, and then breaking down on the way, in transition.
That was, I'm looking at Mayhew back on defense. I thought he played him pretty well. He got his body in front of the ball, and Emmanuel Little just went by him like he was a pylon there. He is fast.
He is fast.
Fast and finishes well.
So the Millrats, Paul Vaughn right now is keeping an eye on Anthony Anderson, Singleton. Make sure these guys are not getting into foul trouble this stage in the game. Kenny Jones has no fear. We talk, I guess the common theme here is physical labor. These Millrats do not mind sacrificing their bodies, and Kenny Jones is a great example. He's scratching his head a bit right now. He got an elbow to the head. He'll play through it. He's a lot like Tyrone Levitt. Tyrone Levitt could have a broken leg, and if somebody said he could get back on the court and get out there. So
he'd hop as fast as he could.
Yeah, I think I compared them somewhat, not the same, but we talked about the old school Detroit Pistons beating up on teams. And it's not the same style, but they're rough and rugged.
Yeah, exactly.
And they don't mind battling and getting hit. And again, the game of basketball, you've got a referee to blow that whistle, and it sends you right to the free throw line.
Well, they don't mind battling and getting hit, and they don't mind hitting either.
So here's the big ticket at the line. Don't be shocked. You're going to see more of it. Getting his own rebound is Kenny Jones. He's going to have an incredible game in the stat sheet. Long range, Anthony Anderson.
Big three.
In the zone.
Welcome back.
Talk about healthy body. Healthy long range three. Oh, wow. A massive block.
Pump fake would have been handy there.
Wow.
We got number 12, Johnny Hart from University of Purdue. We talked about earlier, checking back in the game, and Bolsey for the Millrats. Bolsey had himself a great end of that first quarter, started that second quarter.
I got to check on the number 30 of the London Lightning. But his vertical takeoff on that block shot was just unreal. Matt and Gordon Brown are just like jaws dropped with mine as that block shot happened.
Yeah, we don't have a number 30.
We don't have him on the roster, but he was just, his hand was, I don't know, he blocked the shot and then his hand continued above the backboard. We talk about the athleticism in the league, Stacey. There's a great example of it. Shot blocking ability in this league. I'm still in shock by that block shot. It was beautiful. So again, the score is 50-41 for the Millrats. 50 seconds left in this half. Anthony Anderson's got a hold of the ball. See what he does with it. Swinging it over to Mahan for an open three. Johnny Mahan not able to hit. London comes down with it. Coast to coast goes number 6.
Somebody stop the back.
Al Stewart. Wide open lane, Stacey.
Yeah, stop the ball.
19 seconds left here. 50-43 the Millrats. We're going into the big ticket, of course. Not the greatest pass. Still time left. There's another wide open look. Oh!
Wow.
Radio Singleton. Oh my gosh!
And that, ladies and gentlemen, number 30.
Justin, you think the half is over? National Basketball League, the half is not over. You hit a long-range 3-bomb.
Sorry, we didn't have number 30's name.
Matt Brown's looking, he's like, wait a second. 1.8 seconds left.
Sefton Barrett.
Sefton Barrett. We didn't have his name on the roster. From blocking a shot, well above the rim to a last-second three-point bombshell. Again, how many times have we seen this in this season, Stacey? Guys who can pull up with 1 second left to hit it like fearless. Now, Stacey, I'm just trying to think of who you touched upon earlier. You had a friend that met him, got a signature from the NBA. We're talking about a few NBA players that just have incredible shooting, three-point shooting ability to a point where they're just fearless. Just so confident in their game. And every player has that dangerous ability to shoot threes at the buzzer because they've all played at that high level.
Oh yeah, we got just like the NBA, the hired gun or that three-point specialist is so important, and you're seeing what Ian and the coaching staff has done with the players they brought in to surround Kenny Jones and Tyrone and the other post players with three-point shooting. So basically, everybody on the team for the Mill Rats is a three-point threat, and we're seeing all these teams coming in and playing against the Mill Rats here at Harbor Station with knocking threes down, not from one or two guys, but 3 guys off the bench and 4 of their starters, all with the ability to
and they're big, small forwards, power forwards, centers.
Just that ability to shoot that three-point shot.
But Stacey, how excited has that made the game? I remember Chris Woodside, your friend coming up from Calais, Maine, who just won an Eastern. Congratulations if he's tuning in, winning the Eastern Maine Championship with the Blue. He was on a committee with the East Coast Games we're bringing to St. John this summer, and phenomenal coaching job he's doing there, by the way. We got to see a game together there in Calais with an electric atmosphere, the jam-packed crowd in Calais. That was awesome to see. But he did one of these broadcasts with us, and he said, "I am in shock." He said, "Stacey, you're right. The talent level here is just incredible."
It's incredible. He said to me, I talked to him a couple days later, and he's it's only an hour, for us, but in St. Stephen and in Calais, it's an hour drive to see this caliber of basketball. How great is that?
And it's just a matter of time as this National Basketball League of Canada grows and expands. It's just a matter of time that you're going to get the interest from the Americans, perhaps wanting to get a team into the league, and not just that, but the increased, I guess, viewers tuning in from the United States, more than just the families of the players here, but true fans of the game. So we should send it over quickly here to Briar. He's our social media
What do we got for us?
representative here. He's got everything up to date. So Brian, maybe you can take over and give us a couple updates.
Yeah, coming right down to the end of the second quarter, still a 20-point game. The Raymen are holding on pretty strong. 54-34 is the score right now. So it'll be interesting what the Island Storm coach Joe Salerno has to say in halftime, and if he can rally his team to make a comeback.
Yeah, like we've seen so many times before. Thanks, Briar. We've seen 20-point leads dissipate within 3 minutes. At this level, a 20-point lead isn't safe until there is about a minute and a half to go in the game. So yeah, we'll keep a close eye on that. It does look like Halifax definitely has the upper hand. They got a 54-34 lead almost at the end of that second quarter.
Yeah, and let's touch really quickly upon the bigs of the Halifax Rainmen. They do have a couple of 7-footers, some big bodies to battle with. And when Halifax has come into Harbor Station, we've touched on that. Halifax has got those bigs to battle with, and most likely that's been part of the reason there's been such a strong lead. I mean, we'll find out after the game's done, but the bigs of the Halifax Rainmen are not only just your average, power forwards. These guys are athletic. Again, well-rounded bigs of the Halifax Rainmen really make a difference in the game. And so we'll see what happens in the second half. That's an interesting score, a lead by 20.
I'm looking at the points by the starters for PEI. High scorer with second quarter is 5 points. So Halifax Rainmen, doing a great job defensively, obviously. When we've seen them play, we've seen them play in Snow Rats here 4 or 5 times. And it's I tell you what, playoffs are going to be tough. Maybe looking like the Mill Rats, I don't want to speak too soon, are going to play the Island Storm first round. And like I said, that 20-point lead can dissipate in a matter of a few minutes. So.
Well, while we've got an opportunity here, there's a very, very important reason why I invited Matt and Gordon Brown to the broadcast this evening. Number one, I love the two kids. I mean, they from middle school to high school, and Matt and I were actually joking about a random basketball team we put into a Harvey basketball tournament in the summer. Probably one of the most fun tournaments I've ever been to. But more importantly, really stressing upon how important team sports is to the North End community in St. John. And so I'm going to ask these guys a few, and we'll try to reach out to Bob and talk about some Hampton basketball here in a moment as well. But Matt, just want to take a moment here. Matt, I'll let you take the mic from me in a second, but you and your brother can talk about it. But you guys both played for me in middle school, and we won a middle school championship at Lorne Middle School. Tell me about why it's so important for team sports, whether it's football or basketball, to be part of the community, and why it's so important for them to be successful in the North End.
For one, kids practice being committed. That's probably one of the most important things. Being committed, that translates into their lives so that they can get a job and keep it. Another thing is it brings the community together. Like to have parents and friends going to a community game, it really helps the community out, like just for something to do. Like just so like kids in a court is better than kids out in the streets vandalizing and doing all that stuff that they shouldn't do. So honestly, sports can only help inner city places.
Well, Matt basically wrapped up what I talk about for...
Well said, Matt.
Very well said. Whether it's keeping kids off the street to, feeling part of the community, Matt and Gordon's mom is a true advocate for the North End community, and I could go on for hours talking about what have done for the North End. It's just incredible, and really battling for Lorne Middle School and appreciating how important a community school is. And Gordon's gone on to not just play basketball, but really taken a liking to the game of football. And again, relatable, kind of skills you have in basketball that relate to football. Both of you playing football, but really at the quarterback position, excelling under St. John High School's football coach, who's a good friend of mine. What's that been like, going from middle school, sports in the North End to the football field at St. John High School? What's that transition been like, and what's been the big draw for you? What's drawing you to football? What's been the big driving force there?
Well, I'd say that probably the big driving thing is that it's just more of a competitive thing, and going from Bantam to high school, like for Bantam it's like 2 practices a week, and then for high school you go every day at the same time for like 3 hours. It's really a big commitment, and it's what Matt said earlier about showing kids commitment, about going to jobs every day and like going every day and things like that. But a draw for me was how committed everyone was, and how it also gave everyone a sense of family as well. For people who don't have a big family for sporting, they can always lean on their teammates for support at home if they're having issues at home or anything like that. But yes, I enjoyed the high school season very much. And we came up short this year. We made it to the playoffs and to finals, but we came up short. But I enjoyed it very much for the 2 years I was there, and I think my brother did as well.
That was awesome. You guys, there are 2 brothers summed up team sports in less than 3 minutes, but nailed every crucial point. And really talking about, Stacey, we talked about this earlier in high school and college basketball. If you're a coach, you need the commitment of your players, all 12, or if it's a football team, you might have 50 or 60. Everyone being on board and on the same page, and the coaching staff as well. That's been so important to keeping players around. So a huge thank you to Matt and Gordon for coming out and really advocating for the North End of St. John. We're down to 4 minutes, just over 4 minutes left. Another person we brought to the game this evening is Bob Fife. the JV basketball coach for Hampton High School, and it was really crucial to bring him here. We actually we found out my daughter and his son attend the same Francophone daycare, and Chris Bam's this. The next thing you knew, we had a kind of a baby date, not a baby date, a toddler date at a high school girls basketball game the other night. We had a blast. Both kids loved the game, and I believe Matthew, the older brother as well, was there. Great kid. But Bob's really making a strong effort in trying to reignite the game in Hampton. And so Bob, what's been the biggest struggle with basketball so far?
The biggest stress for basketball in Hampton generally has just been building a culture where the students and the players expect to succeed. They come from a long tradition of struggling in the division that they play, and more and more they're finding that they can hold their own and sometimes compete at a level other teams don't expect them to. They had a great season this year. The JV boys went from typically a basement-dwelling team to third place in their division, and shocked and delighted themselves. Parents and community members really seem to have lifted their heads up and taken notice, and the young men that I coached were the absolute model of what it is to be a team. I saw those young men go out and dig through 1.5 feet of snow to get us from the parking lot into the school so they could practice on the day before the provincials, and they were just a fantastic team. We were really fortunate to see them out.
Right, and I knew by asking that question that struggle would turn into the positive, because quite literally it takes times kids shocking themselves that they're as talented or more talented than they even realize, and maybe that extends to the parents as well. But you obviously see the talent in that community, and Stacey touched upon earlier there being a long tradition of basketball in Hampton, and the talent is there. It just takes enough coaches like yourself and others to really reignite the program out there, and it looks like things are heading up, which is phenomenal. What's been the greatest thing you've taken from last season?
Generally speaking, I would have to say that I've been pretty overwhelmed by the spirit inspired into the program by the young men that I coached and by most of the players. They came out really not knowing what they were capable of, but when I asked them for a commitment up front to do what they could, everything within their power to bring this season to fruition, they really rose to the challenge, and it was surprising to see the level to which they would go. There were several weeks where we practiced 5 nights a week, 10 hours worth of practice time over the course of a week for young men holding up academic studies and social lives. It was a lot of commitment, but they really went to bat to represent their community and their families and the team that they wanted to build, and the results are there on the page.
Absolutely. You make some great points there, and with these East Coast games coming up, we were talking, all three of us were talking earlier about trying to bring all of these minor associations together, whether it's in Hampton, whether it's in St. Stephen, Charlotte County, really taking an opportunity to say, you know what, instead of maybe operating independently, let's start joining forces, and that's what we're going to start doing. Bob, I mentioned to Bob that I'd be more than happy to go to Hampton to help run a basketball clinic with him, and again, as we see Stacey, we talked about the sport growing in New Brunswick. We're one of the fastest growing sport as far as amateur sports. Guys like Bob Fife are part of that movement of coaches that are really pushing the game of basketball, and kids buying into it along with parents. And Stacey, you could probably touch upon this in St. Stephen in a rebuilding process. It's not much different, right?
No, definitely. Every community needs those volunteer coaches and coaches like Bob that are committed and have a passion for the game. And it doesn't so much have to be, I want to win provincials, and I want nothing less than provincials, but you want to build a program, you want to build a successful and competitive program, and take the winning provincials and winning championships as a bonus. But every school every program needs those volunteer coaches that have passion and love the game of basketball.
And Stacey, and I was talking to Bob about that not being any different in St. Andrews when I arrived there, or St. Stephen. You have every 5 or 6 years, for whatever reason, in every sport, you kind of have maybe a season where 10 really great players graduate all at once. That happens all the time, whether it's football, hockey. You have these strong seasons for a while, and then you have a weak season, then you rebuild. But that's the key, is having that community of coaches to really keep the programs going. And Bob's seems to be reigniting the Hampton program, which is just so nice to see. The start of the second half here is 50-46 for the Millrats. Kenny Jones going to work early. At the media table, we do have Matt and Gordon Brown from St. John High School with us. Gordon Brown being a basketball / quarterback specialist on the football team, and Matt Brown doing a little bit of both as well, throwing some massive dunks down when opportunity arises. As well, Briar McPherson, our social media king, Bob Fife, JV coach of Hampton High School, and the legend Stacey Atkinson from St. Stephen High School, back on the broadcast.
I know I'm getting old when I'm called a legend. Yeah. No, at the start of the game, both the London Lightning coach Carlos Knox. It's kind of funny. I've got a really good friend that works in the head office for the Indiana Pacers, and I got the opportunity to go there last March and watch them play Utah Jazz and watch them play Golden State. Of course, I sat behind the team bench. I get to meet a lot of players and whatnot. And I talked to my buddy, his name is Chris Taylor, about the NBL. And he said, well, yeah, we get a coach here that works in player development for their WNBA team, the Indiana Fever, that is the head coach for the London Lightning. And here he is, Carlos Knox. I got a chance to talk to him before the game and say hello and just talk real quick about my friend there, Chris Taylor, that works for the Pacers. And, it's a small world, isn't it?
Basketball world's all intertwined. I was talking to Matt Brown about the basketball coaching world really being intertwined. I just want to touch on this. Number 13, Brent Jennings, right out of the half, with the same play, Stacey, on the left-handed side of the hoop. They had 2 set plays for him there, and it worked both times.
Immediately racing, a 4-point deficit at the half to, be enough for him.
Mr. 3-point specialist himself, Johnny Mahan, able to hit long range. Again, same play, Stacey, feeding the ball, a identical play into Brent Jennings.
Coach for Lightning is thinking 58. I think it's exactly so. I think the score is right into that 56, 53.
Again, Stacey, right out of the half, running the same play. Millrats really have to, Stacey, you know this.
Wow, that is a broken play gone good.
Sloppy basketball.
Singleton gets the steal from the floor, laying on the floor, and gets the assist to Jeremy Williams if he makes 1 or 2 of these free throws.
One thing that I've really noticed with the Millrats seems that they start the half at the beginning and the halfway mark through the game with really tough questions on ball security and really tough questions on defensive rebounding. And as they settle into after the first few minutes, they really seem to get some control of the game. At the end of the last half, they really were dominating with an offense that was penetrating into the defensive zone for London. And at the same time, London was getting very little penetration, mostly long-range shots. Hopefully, the Millrats will settle back in and find that same rhythm again, because it was really effective in the first half.
Well, those are great points. And, right out of the half, London really attacking the basket, in particular the ball going to Brent Jennings in the post. Same play being run on the other side of the block.
Phillips just
Marvin Phillips,
explosive.
yeah, very strong player.
Explosive, finishes well.
So a real shift in game change, game plan for the London Lightning.
Well, it seems that the athleticism of the London Lightning is unquestionably strong. They've got that gift of both speed, but St. John seemed to really come to life with some leadership from Eric Cruikshanks and Eric Johnson last half that seemed to really inspire their play across the floor. Hopefully we'll see some of that inspiration again, and the Mill Rats will step too, because it was remarkable the way they took it.
Not a good shot.
And Al Stewart was able to slash and drive at the other end. Beautiful pass there. Mill Rats need a timeout. Again, what number are we looking at on London Lightning doing all the scoring right now? Brent Jennings has been incredible. What are the numbers? We're going to have to go to Breyer maybe on this, if you can take a look. If Brent can take a look into the numbers of Brent Jennings. His start right after the half has been just phenomenal. Stacey, they've gone into him every time.
I don't think. I can't remember if Jennings even scored in the first half, but he's got a quick bucket.
No, but specifically here in the third, coach really deciding to go into get the ball to Jennings. So again, Stacey, what's really kind of fun to as broadcasters.
I guess he's got. He must have scored in the first half. I know he scored 14 points in 20 minutes, all going to rim.
Yeah,
Everything in the paint with dunks and.
I'm pretty sure he had 2 massive dunks that first half early on.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and you talk about Brent Jennings. He only finished the first half with 6 points. Now he's got 14. So that's 8 points in the first 4 minutes of this third quarter.
So a very specific game plan to go into the bigs, and Brent Jennings has been very successful. And let's touch upon Marvin Phillips, the starter as well, going to work. Hats off to the London Lightning coaching staff, doing a very good job, finding a new strategy to really attack the NORADs, and it's so far been very effective. Now with the lead of 62-57 with 8 minutes left in the third, NORADs are definitely going to have to readjust. And again, Stacey, twice down the floor, the ball to Jennings. The Mirats are going to have to be able to readjust quickly out there. Just wait for a timeout call 4 minutes later. They've got to be able to reset mentally out there as a team.
And do it on the fly. It's the same. Like Bob said, it's the same sloppy start we saw at the start of the game. And it almost seems like their competitive nature, the competitive part of them, and they settle in. It's gone on. It was 50-46 in the half. 16-7 run here by London Lightning, and we talked about earlier about a 20-point lead, how fast they can dissipate. You're seeing a 16-7 run.
Well, what the Millrats have been able to do in the fourth has been, big ticket going to work, just missing that one.
Good defense.
He wanted that. Jennings almost threw down a massive dunk, just missing. Foul being called. Alvin Mims being charged with that foul. The vertical leap of Brent Jennings, just disgusting. I'd almost want to see an NBL dunk competition.
That was
a lot of people out there agreeing with me right now.
That was a Grant Hill reach back, playing for Duke dunk.
Another steal by London. Another massive dunk by Mr. Brent Jennings.
Wow.
Brent Jennings has gone from Anthony Anderson with a nice jumper back at the other end. But Brent Jennings has turned into the LeBron James for the Lightning.
Well, he's taken advantage of Anthony Anderson guarding him in the low
height
block,
advantage.
A 4 or 5 inch height advantage, and and definitely leap over the top of it.
Again, great defensive presence there with the Lightning. Wow, that looked like a great, we talk about Anthony Anderson positioning his body and getting teed up.
That's one bend by the official. From our vantage point, look at the replay here. It's definitely all ball.
All ball, 100% all ball.
And in the back of his mind, he's not 100% sure. Maybe he made that right call. Then you maybe got to talk down a little bit on that technical foul you're giving to Anderson.
Paul Vaughn, obviously, the word's not even upset. Stacey, that might have been the first instant replay that just gave us a full vantage point of that block shot.
Clearly, the body was 2 feet from his, and clearly the hand on top of the ball.
And Anderson will never actually,
it was sorry, Ben. The lead officials, put his hand on top of the other hand, showing that it was a block shot, and the trail official just getting over center court called the foul.
Yeah, we've seen that a couple times this season where one ref made one call and then the opposite at a different angle.
Yeah, the crowd over there really giving that referee the business.
But Anthony Anderson definitely number one doesn't want fouls, want a tee.
No.
Just from a coaching standpoint, you feel for him. That was a legitimate straight-up defensive play.
That's good defense right there. That's getting your body in front of the basketball.
The Rats are trying to respond here on D, and it worked.
Forza, a contested jump shot and blocks out. Stop the ball.
Anthony Anderson's been around long enough. That's not going to slow him down. Here's London back in transition. Massive block shot by Mr. Jeremy Williams.
I don't mind that foul.
That's a foul you have to make.
It's a foul. You stop the ball. It's a foul before he after shooting. And take the ball outside line. They had a break. They had a 3-on-2 break. Commit the foul before the action. They can show the ball on the sideline.
What we're really seeing as well too is that athleticism is just so punishing that the Mill Rats' failure to settle in is still take control of the game the way they did in the first half. And 19 turnovers for the Mill Rats and 9 for London is it's hard to recover from that without really settling into your game and finding your presence. And London seems to right now have found a stride that's working for them. Now we'll see if the Mill Rats can find that inspiration that brings them back to life.
No, definitely not. 19 turnovers is you don't want that for the entire game. Like 5 minutes ago here in the third
That was
quarter.
Sefton Bear. We talked about him earlier, showing his presence early in the game. And Bolchi hitting long range.
Well, one way to find inspiration for a team that's struggling is to hit a couple of three-pointers and put some fire back under them. And it looks like St. John's using that as a way to get the gears turning.
Well, Bob, what we've seen all season from the Mill Rats is a fourth quarter team. They don't mind being down by 8, 10 points. They are a comeback team. And Anthony Anderson rebounding from that technical foul.
You're seeing 2 6'7" guys closing down on a 5'11", and Anderson doesn't jump over the rim, but can he ever finish?
We talked about the way he positions his body when he takes off is just it's a rare ability that he has.
Well, what I was going to say there is that what we saw on that layup was exactly the right way to do the layup, where he protects that ball with a body, and no matter the size of the defenders, he was able to finish.
Just we've seen all season that him just jumping into the defender and keeping them flat-footed or grounded, at the risk of committing a foul, right?
And Jennings is a one-man wrecking crew. Brent Jennings has just been incredible for the London Lightning.
Well, we're seeing the seeing the second line coming in for the Mill Rats over the last few minutes, and a couple more now, which really gave them the boost in that first half. And got them, from down 11-2 to up, 8 or 9 points at one time.
Yeah, we got another interesting update in the other important game across the league tonight. Over in PEI, the Storm have kind of pulled back in the third quarter. They trail 57-48, but
sorry to interrupt for 1 second, but Holty long range 3 bombshell. The Mill Rats get themselves back into the game every time with long range shooting. Back to you, Briar. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem. So just another update, I guess, just updated now. 60-50 with 9 minutes left in the third. So it's no longer a 20-point game. The Storm are back within 10. This could get interesting.
This is NBL basketball, and Briar, you and I touched on this last game, how a 20-point lead can just disappear in seconds in the NBL because of long-range shooting.
Yeah, we talked earlier about that. That 20-point lead is nothing at this level of play, and you see, with what was a 20-point game for Halifax, and still, 20 minutes of game time left. It's a 10-point game.
Volchi is on fire!
3 in a row.
Give Volchi the rock!
Wow.
Well, 2 baskets does not make a streak, but I'm willing to make a prediction that Alex Johnson and Eric Cruikshank's presence on the floor is the beginning of a streak that ends well for the Mill Rats if they continue at this rate. That leadership and the inspiration.
Wow! Number 20 with the 3-pointer definitely got hit. He took the harm. Ed Horton, that was a beautiful shot, Stacey. Nice stroke, and he got hammered. You talk about the Mill Rats.
I think it was the old Reggie Miller leg kick on that one.
You're right.
The referee didn't buy it.
Doesn't matter. Nice shot.
Yeah.
Superman
got
wants that. He wants that bucket. There's Anthony Anderson. Eric Cruikshank. Wow, he looked like he got hit there. No call.
Last touch by Lightning.
Refs are now letting them play a little bit more physical here.
It looks like the Mill Rats are putting that extra effort into each and every play at this moment, and it's paid off with.
This is what they do late in the third, fourth quarter.
Their second lineup, the second line really comes in and gives them that burst of energy. And
he got lucky. Volchi got very lucky there. Definitely a travel violation before that shot attempt, but referee didn't have him at that angle. He got the foul call, which is great. If you're a Mill Rats fan. Again, key player of the third quarter is Volchi. From 3-point shooting to getting to the foul line.
3 in a row for him. Here he is at the line, shoot a couple free throws. And,
just like that, Briar was giving us updates with the Halifax Rainmen game, and 20, 22-point leads for the Rainmen, and us saying, well, that's a lead, but that's not a blowout by any means. And it's for this reason, the NBL, you get a guy like Volchi start lighting up out of the blue, the score just changes so fast.
This is such a competitive league, Ben. We failed to see any team that is 20, 25 points better than anybody else. There's so much parity in the league this year
and that's what's beautiful about it.
Well, the NBL title is up for grabs this year. It is.
Most definitely. There's no one dominant team anymore, Stace, in the NBL. And I always like to compare years past.
For a couple years, it was the London Lightning just dominated everybody, and it was just for given who was going to get second place in the league this year, because it was going to be one team or another. You knew that halfway through the season who the strongest team was, but not this year.
Ed Horton's another guy you want to talk about. He's been a really great presence here for the London Lightning. And great defense. The 1 and 2 positions really taking over on defense for the London Lightning. Al Stewart able to get to the hoop. But again, you nailed it, Stacey. This is a different looking National Basketball League of Canada this year. Young, athletic, highly talented, pure shooters. all of the GMs, give credit to all the GMs across the league, bringing in top talent and young, guys right out of D1 basketball.
Yeah.
You're talking about a player you couldn't remember maybe his name, but you remember seeing him on TV because he was scoring and starting. D1 basketball. London are on fire right now.
Wow.
Ed Horton just loving life.
It was looking, first half like, Millrats were just the better team. They were going to go on to win this game. A big 3 by London, momentum thing at the end of the half to cut that lead, half that lead from Millrats to 4. And here they are, Millrats down 13 points going into the fourth quarter. Wow, how quickly did the game change at this level?
Yeah, we talked about the game of basketball being a game of runs, and that's what we're seeing. We expect this, right? We expect at this point, Stacey, we've seen it over and over again. The teams, talk about parity and the competition level, and the teams being so really equivalent with talent that either team on any given day could go on a run, and all you're seeing right now is the London Lightning go on a very good run. A nice spurt of energy. But again, as Bob touched on earlier, the Millrats love to bring in key figures like Eric Cruikshank and some specialists to really take over in the fourth quarter. And this is a fourth quarter team. The Millrats, whether the game gets sloppy or not in the third, always regroup and seem to come together with that team chemistry and find a way to win.
Definitely. The Millrats have got to get back to team basketball, what they were doing for most of that first half. And in the last few minutes here, it's been a little too much one-on-one, resulting in some dribble turnovers and some bad shots. Guys standing around, really nobody moving without the basketball. Nobody setting screens, and it's just some one-on-one basketball and basically, some fadeaway three-point shots and some, falling down shots, in the paint. There's been a selection of bad shots. Let's see what Coach Vaughn talked about here in between the third and fourth quarter, and see what they come out with here in the fourth.
Again, a huge shout out, Paul Vaughn and Jim Palmer taking over kind of as head coach. Well, Coach King is out with an illness. Nothing serious, it's the flu. Wow, he is just on fire. Ed Horton. Again, talk about guys getting in the zone, Stacey. Horton is in the zone right now, a lot like Jennings earlier.
Yeah, he's quickly up to 14 points in this game.
Millrats getting very lucky there. Not the best choice for Eric Cruikshank with that pass selection, but again, the Millrats just need to regroup here in the fourth. Superman Alex Johnson trying to get it started. Kenny Jones, big ticket all over the boards.
Cruikshank there. Kenny's still on the bench.
Oh, my bad. I apologize.
He's frothing at the bit over there to get in the game.
I saw so much in the big ticket scoring. He's in my mind.
Well, we talked about Volsey. He's a big guy like Kenny, and they got the same broad shoulders and big arms, and sometimes if I'm not looking at the face, I'll mistake them for each other.
That was a good memory test for me there. Big ticket, you guaranteed Big Ticket will be back in the game here not too long from now. Stacey, you love talking about those crucial 4 or 5 last minutes in the game, and the fours, and the Millrats being able to really dominate those last minutes of the game.
Volsey doing a great job defensively. Wow.
Volsey playing beautiful defense.
Tough shot.
And you really pinpointed it, that physical style of play he has. A lot like Tyrone Levitt, not somebody you want to have to be matched up against.
Well, we talked earlier. This, having Tyrone out of the lineup, having anybody out of your lineup, it changes your rotation. But especially having Tyrone's their best defender, and he knocks down a lot of threes, gets a lot of points, but also
Volsey!
Again, wow. know, when
Volchi is beyond the zone.
Yeah.
Volchi is just on
4 for 4.
fire.
You know, we talked, and
Volchi had a hand in his face and just jacked it. Wow, the other end, Horton is also just, the rim looks 5 feet wide to Horton right now. Volchi's in the same zone. These guys are going head to head. Two players we're not expecting to be the highlight stars of the game, but like they're really stepping up for both teams.
They are. You know, and just back to Tyrone being out of the game, you know, we're missing, you know, the team's missing their head coach here tonight too, and that's, you know, not saying knock on Paul. Paul's doing a great job, but not having your head coach here it makes a difference.
Well, I think, wow, Horton is just
another one down,
having a Kobe Bryant style night.
And one. Wow.
And one plays we've seen in the National Basketball League of Canada. These guys are able to take the harm and make the hoop. And we talked earlier, I think it was Ed Horton that hit that corner three. It looked like he got hammered there too, but these guys battle through anything to get that shot to go. What a great player they've got, number 20 of the London Lightning. Ed Horton, fun to watch, isn't he?
They've scored more points here.
Air Canada! If you missed your tickets to the flight with Air Canada, you're missing out on a massive dunk show.
Well, let's see if that sparks this team, sparks this crowd here a bit. What we're not seeing tonight is the bench. That we're not seeing them up and hollering and screaming, and, you know, like they have been.
Oh my Lord! Marvin Phillips. Marvin Phillips took off from well outside the paint for a massive one-handed cram. Stacey, the great part about our job is we don't have to be biased. Look, the London Lightning are in a team-wide zone right now of offensive presence. And that dunk just highlighted it.
Wow, you know, then they scored 46 points in the first half. They're at 98 with 9 minutes to go in the game. They're not missing anything. Yeah.
Volchi doing the smart thing, going to the bucket.
Oh, we got Crookshank with a few words.
Crookshank is loving life as he walked away. Crookshank is brilliant at getting.
I don't know if we got a double. Technical here, or we do. Double technical.
A double. So both getting called the T.
No offset. You know, Volchi will go to the line for 2 shots with the line.
But I mean, listen. What Crookshank brings to the game with him is adrenaline, a pile of it. Yeah, I think I described it once as you feel like Crookshank grabbed a bag of penny candy and just like ate it all seconds before the game, just on a sugar high. Like my daughter Chloe, she gets too much candy into her, she's just wired. But this is Crookshank. He's an adrenaline guy.
He is, you know.
He'll get you. Look, if he has to take a double technical, he'll take it.
Yeah.
If that really kickstarts his team and the morale, he'll do it. He'll take it.
You know, he is every bit important to this team with his energy as he is with the talent that he has for the game of basketball. What a great defense.
Volchi is just at both ends of the floor.
Oh, that's his feet were 2 feet in the air when he tipped that ball back in. The referee with a late whistle calls him for out of the bounds.
Again, player of the game right now, Stacey, for the Millrats is Volchi, playing incredible defense, offensively making very smart decisions. Wow, a hand up and still making it.
Johnny Hart, big.
You know, we talk about these teams going on runs and confidence. London is feeling the confidence right now.
Just, you know what?
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're tuning in, Keith Cawthron taking advantage of that missed dunk opportunity.
The Lightning have 3 guys that could enter the NBA dunk contest.
Easily.
He reached back 4 feet from the rim to grab that ball.
Well, it's not just their leaping ability, Stacey. It's having the confidence to actually pull it off in a game.
Wow.
That was very close to going down.
Wow, you know, I keep thinking back to that Grant Hill dunk from Duke, to where he reached back, 4 or 5 feet behind his head and snapped.
You know, these London Lightning are running plays like that during practice. Fulci with a huge block shot.
Wow. He has got some great.
He's got them in New Haven, Connecticut. No longer the defensive specialist, Stacey. He does it all. These are some players that are really saving the day for the Millrats. Tyrone Levitt's out. That is a crucial change in your lineup and the way you're mixing it up.
And your head coach not here, which is, like I said, no knock on Paul, doing a great job, but
right,
your coach isn't here.
Routine, right?
And it's how players act on the bench and on the floor. If with Coach King not being here, it's a bit of a difference. And especially on the bench, you don't see everybody jumping up and getting into the game and supporting their players like they normally do. It seems a little flat.
Well, it's humans are creatures of I know, at least I am. I've got to get up at the same time every day. I like to be in part of in a routine, and if something's thrown off during the run of my day, it can kind of throw off maybe the way I'm feeling. And it's no different with a basketball team. Tell a team, hey, we're missing a head coach. Probably, we've talked about the most valuable player for the Millrats this season in Tyrone Levitt. It's going to shake your confidence a little bit, or it's going to throw your day off just enough.
It does. And the Millrats over the last month and a half have been used to something different with the induction of so many new players. This player gone, and this player back in. But we've, over the last few weeks, they've really settled into this team and have gone on a win streak, and now we've thrown a change in them again, like we said, with probably their most valuable player this season and their best defender, I would say.
Again, the Millrats have been tested like this all season. We've watched it happen, Stacey, and the resiliency of this team.
Yeah.
You always touch upon that last 5 minutes of the game being crucial, and the Millrats seem to find a way to claw their way back into the games.
Yeah, definitely.
But with London shooting that well, though, how do you stop?
Yeah. I guess the most crucial 5 minutes of the game are first 5 minutes of the second half, and Lightning just going on a run in that first 5 minutes.
But again, Stacey, we're also talking about a team early on in the game. You remember me touching upon the fact that this is not a team that's in the Eastern Conference with Halifax and PTI Storm. This, I would definitely say, is a higher quality team than what we're seeing on a regular basis.
Right. Crookshank with a big follow-up down.
Air Canada doing what he does best out there in the court. But again, Stacey, the Millrats facing a playoff contending team. Huge difference. So if they can pull off a mental battle and a mental win, it'd be huge going into playoffs.
We got hit. I think we need to get Kenny back in the game.
So Volchi not able to hit there. Millrats trying to find a way to get back into the game. It's just a matter of time before the big ticket gets back in.
Yeah, hopefully soon,
Another three-pointer hit.
Wow. John Bernard again from the same spot he just hit one a couple minutes ago. About 3 feet outside net.
London has 4 or 5 guys just hitting long range, open jumpers, massive dunks.
Nice cut. That's moving without that.
Superman, Alex Johnson. I've been waiting all game to say that. Alex Johnson, we want him to light it up. Wow, incredible footwork. Brent Jennings. Matt Brown, what is Brent Jennings to you?
Oh, he's just a stud, honestly.
Disgusting. He is a legit baller who's got the ball right now. Get called for the travel. Again, I'm going to touch on it again, Stacey. This team is one kind of making their way times, stopping to each city, and you know, it's a confidence boost for them if they can come out of here with a couple big wins in the Maritimes. Here's Anthony Anderson back at it.
Anderson immediately making an impact here.
Anderson and Singleton being your fourth quarter guys, and then the big ticket.
Yeah.
Now Bob's gonna get maybe a nice move.
Wow.
Brent Jennings is just taking over this game. Dominant performance by Jennings. It's just incredible. But there's a big ticket. No, that big ticket there. I messed up again. I think I'm going to start drinking coffee.
Well, what we're seeing really in some ways is what worked in the first half for St. John when their offense started to click was a lot better penetration and close.
Goaltending.
That's definitely goaltending. That's definitely goaltending. And the play goes on.
That's 2 points they didn't get. Possible 3 points they do get. Nope.
There's 2 really tough calls. That block shot by Anthony Anderson in the first half, and then that goaltending.
Look at Singleton.
Singleton is just.
Work down there. He is tough.
Singleton getting hammered. And
that's living proof right there. You don't have to be a 6'8" guy to rebound the basketball. You just have to have heart and toughness.
Not at all.
Rebounding's all about.
The first to last game, the first quarter, Briar and I were calling the game here in St. John, and the first quarter they actually had Singleton and Anthony Anderson posting in the first 5 minutes of the game, getting them the ball in the post and posting up their, the guards.
You know, it's kind of what Coach Knox did with his London team. He started that second half with posting up Anthony Anderson for about 5 possessions in a row. But we bragged up Cruikshank's free throw shooting, and he hasn't hit one this game, Ben.
Cruikshank's going to settle down a bit here, try to make his shots. So crucial, these free throws in the fourth, and the Millrats have always been able to make them pay.
And we're down 15 points here. I like to see Jeremy Williams get back in the game too. Much needed scoring we need out there right now.
Wow, nice move.
Just taking advantage of Anthony down in that low block.
Marvin Phillips, great physical presence under the basket.
And Anderson taking advantage of them on this end.
No, Anderson's doing what he does best, but he can't do it on his own.
Yeah,
you might be right, Stacey. I think maybe bringing in some fresh legs with Jeremy Williams would be a good call at this point. Again, Millrats the most of the time left on the clock. These are your crucial minutes that you're talking with, Stacey.
Here we go. Last 3 minutes here. It's the scoring. They're scoring at over 50% here in the last 10 possessions, but just not getting the.
Air Canada, the Cruikshank subbing out of the game. Volchi's back into the game. By far the best player for the Millrats second half is Volchi. Mirrors really have to make the most of this last 3 game. Can't give up on it.
You know, a little shy to get up in full court press again with you know, the Lightning ran in 4 or 5 dunks when they were out really pressuring the ball. And
Stacey said, you know, sometimes you wonder too, you know, these players are able to follow the standings and the stats. They know they're in playoffs. To what extent do you think that plays a role with the team when it's the last game of the season? Do you think that ever? Now, obviously, for London, that doesn't mean anything. They're all over the floor. They're playing very good basketball. But sometimes I think it does take part in the game and your approach if you know you're already in playoffs. So that might be a part of it.
Yeah, you know, it's just not, you know, what we're seeing from London in the second half is what we saw from the Millrats in the first half. You know, the scrappy, they had, you know, the majority of the tips and deflections and you know, loose balls and rebounds. Complete reversal here in the second half. It's almost like you're right, it's almost like they've relaxed a little bit. Yeah, well, we're in the playoffs. We know we're finishing in 3rd spot.
It's interesting. Anthony Anderson's one of those guys that he doesn't care what night it is, what game it is. He wants to show up. There's a big ticket. All 5 guys, the point is, you need 5 Anthony Andersons on the court right now ready to win this game. They've got to just decide mentally they want it.
Yeah, you need some scoring out there. You definitely need, you know, 3 or 4 stops here in a row.
That test of mental toughness comes down to these crucial minutes.
Good foul.
That was a tough possession.
That's the pull-up jump shot at the free throw line.
The big ticket tried to spin, had the ball taken. A quick foul being called on Volchi. Unfortunately, he had to do it.
Well, Ben, what you need here now is 3 good stops in a row and 3 scores. 3 possessions in a row here from the Millrats. Hopefully a couple threes in that mix.
You know, it seems to be talking when the game started that in many aspects of the game, this is a win-win opportunity for the Millrats because we talked about this team being a measuring tool for the Millrats as to what they're going to have to expect come playoff time. You know, we knew coming into this game that legitimate basketball team that's playing at the highest level in the NBL of Canada right now, and win or lose, they're going to at least get to see what they're going to have to defeat come playoff time. This could be a future opponent for them.
Yeah. They proved that they can beat London. They're better than London. They're going to be as good as London. They proved that. They proved themselves that. But what I like to have seen was that same effort in the second half. And get a win tonight, not a loss, and send that message to BI, send that message to Halifax that we're for real. The Millrats are for real. We've won, you know, if we hadn't done that win tonight, won 11 of our last 12 games. You know, it was a great win and really send that message to the teams we're going to be playing in the playoffs.
Nice screen set there by 45. Marvin Phillips.
Look out.
On the run is Menzies. Nice clean block. That was clean.
He ended up out of bounds, but I don't know how much body contact there was, but it was all clean upstairs.
Again, Stacey, though, but this is what the Millrats need to be looking towards for the future. Yes, the Millrats can beat this team. Yes, they're probably a better team, but a good learning opportunity for the Millrats. There's an example. Your big man.
That shot, that was in his hand when that shot clock went off. That shouldn't have counted. But anyway, it's so loud here right now. It's hard to hear that shot clock.
Cawthron hitting that 3. Another highlight player of the game has been Cawthron.
Yep.
Very effective. But again, you know, the Murats, yeah, let's look at some things that may have changed the, you know, the momentum of this game. Tyrone Levitt not having him in the lineup, we knew as soon as we saw him, you know, in street clothes basically, not playing.
No, I just went, oh man, when I saw him in street clothes.
He's such a big piece to lose.
You know, and I love watching him play. He's, you know, just how hard he works. And, you know, they wouldn't have 117 points in that board.
Not a
I guarantee
chance.
you if Tyrone was playing.
So this, ladies and gentlemen, this will be a different story come playoff time and Tyrone Levitt in the game. But London's going to be able to lead here, holding their heads high, knowing they played a very good basketball game, Stacey. They've done really well tonight.
You know, they had 46 points in the first half. You know, they're going to finish the game with 119.
And again,
my math is correct, 73 points.
The Millrats are not a group of guys that are full of excuses. They just legit, look, they lost the game. Can you blame the referees for a missed call here or there? Sure, but you know what?
That only equals out, you think.
The offensive presence of the London Lightning was unstoppable tonight.
You know, it just at any given night, you know, teams in this league can score 73 points in a half. You just hope it's not when they play the Millrats, I guess. Well, Ben, it's been. Well, we got playoffs coming up, and you know, of course, we'll get to do hopefully more than 1 or 2 more games. And but it's been a pleasure broadcasting with you for a majority of the home games this year. It's been fun. It's been an experience. Like you said, it's the first year for both of us broadcasting. We just hope that the people viewing aren't too annoying with us. You know, you know, had fun. It was a great year. Give me the call and give me this opportunity to come, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so a huge thank you. I remember Ian McCarthy first approaching me and saying, how do you feel about taking over the live, you know, the live TV broadcast? And I was kind of in a state of shock. Yeah, he and I both know I like to talk a lot, but to actually talking on live stream was a whole different story. And both of us genuinely, you know, we were genuinely nervous game one.
We walked in here first game going,
where do we start?
We seen headphones and microphones sitting here, but nobody came over to talk to us. And, you know, the game started, and I guess, here we go.
The point being is we've gone from that first game to truly enjoying what we're doing now. And, you know, regular season's done. The Millrats have succeeded. They've made playoffs. And we've gotten to a point, I guess, as broadcasters to look at the table we've brought together here tonight. Like, whether it be Briar, you know, we're having Briar join in.
Love you, Mom. Love you, Dad. Love everybody. Love you.
That's Eric Cruikshank.
Cruikshank's still with energy. The adrenaline's still flowing. Where it's like long after the game.
Yeah.
But the point.
Does he even sleep at night? I can't picture him.
Probably not.
I can't picture him falling asleep.
he's foot-long subs all night, just wired. But the point is, it's been a phenomenal season, and seeing the Millrats make that 180 shift has been key. And going into playoffs, Millrats are ready, and we're ready to call the games if need be. And I think we're gonna have to do. To Bob Fife for showing up from Hampton to really promote the game. Matt and Gordon Brown from the north end of St. John at St. John High School. Yeah, giving us a great update game. And I might just pass the mic over to Briar really quick just to get a final update from Halifax. Stacey and I will be back next time come playoffs. Thank you for tuning in to NBL Canada basketball. We'll leave the broadcast with Briar just to give you final stats from the Halifax Rainmen game, and we'll sign off from there.
Yeah, so 9 minutes and 17 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Rainmen still leading 90-78. Still lots of time left for the Storm, obviously, so this could get interesting. And there's still lots of basketball to be played. Thanks for listening tonight, folks, and see you next time.